and welcome to Ask Shayne Anything. We are here at the Raven Inn, which is now a CAMRA award-winning pub. They won the pub of the winter, pub of the season for the winter. Right. So we had some lovely food, and what have we on?
Yeah, I'm on a Guinness, and what are you having?
I'm on a cider, so it's from the Dickens orchard.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. The wife loves a Dickens cider.
Right. Yeah. I'll say no more.
So, moving on to the questions. So, guys, you've been asking your questions in your droves, and the first question comes from Gary in Oldham, not Gary Oldham. We're not that famous yet, but Gary in Oldham said, "Who was the players that you loved playing against? Was it someone that you really wanted to, beat up, on the dartboard, as it were, or was you more like, it was going to be a good game between yourselves because of the pace, or what was your answer?"
It's anybody that gives you a fair game, who plays at your pace.
Yes.
So let's say people used to, I'm not one for all this gamesmanship and all that lot. It's someone you just enjoy playing at their pace. And when you've played someone a few times, and sometimes you've got them in your pocket, and you think, I don't mind that draw, because like one of those players, unfortunately for Bob, was Bob Anderson. Bob was an absolute living legend, because Bob was an absolute class act, absolute legend of the game. But I always had,
for someone who looked so calm when he was doing the interviews and away from the hockey, but when he played on that hockey, he looked mean.
Yeah,
he looked
vicious.
Yeah.
He used to talk the darts in, didn't he? He used
to
nod them in, and 9 times out of 10 they used to go. And he was.
And with Bob, you had the infamous entry at the World Championships, the introductions when he came on with he didn't come on the horse, he came with the horse following him, and it was mentioned on another podcast that I listened to, and they were talking about it. He's going, he should have been riding the horses. But what they didn't know is Bob Anderson was actually terrified of horses. So just to get him near it was enough.
I think it was a massive health and safety issue, wasn't it? Although there is some grainy footage of it about somewhere. But
it reminds me of Peter Kay, the Phoenix Knights. He's going, there's a horse in the Pennine suite. But I mean that was just Sky just up in the razzmatazz.
It was, yeah. They was getting for a while there. They was getting more adventurous with their walk-on girls.
Yeah,
they had to tone that back a little bit, and then the horse. Various other things. We used to. They used to ask us for a quote. This is in the early days. You used to put a quote.
Yes.
Do you remember them quotes they put underneath the thing? They stopped all that. I'll bury the bum and all that sort of
I'll
thing,
make the champ look a chump and all.
Yeah. They stopped all that, and in the first couple, they used to have that the famous Bob the dog, the famous tipster.
Oh right, okay.
Gambler.
Yeah.
He used to be in the back room, going round saying, "I'm laying so and so 1 to 8 or whatever it was, So I don't know. I think he must have said something out of turn. They got rid of him,
right?
And they never did that again. But I think they did that for a year or two.
I mean, with TV and with podcasts and anything, I think sometimes it's a case of throwing as much as you can at the wall and seeing what sticks.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
And especially in the infancy of the PDC, WDC. That's what they were trying to. They were trying to be different. They were trying to bring more, a bigger audience in. So if that's with the WWFE, style of production with the entrances and stuff like that and the interviews. I mean, with your nickname, did you ever say, "Do I come on with a bulldog," or was it just like? It
was just I used to, like I said, I was never a flavour of the month there. I was never in with the. I'd say all this footage is all gone. This is why we get to the point why the 90s is the dark ages, because you had the late 80s to up to about 2000 was like the digital to analog switchover.
Yes,
wasn't it? That sort of everybody went down Curry's and bought a vastly overpriced computer that was a piece of rubbish, basically, with no RAM.
Amstrad.
Yeah.
No offence, Alan.
Yeah. And everybody had one. all you had was a 3.5-inch floppy, and well, I've still got one, but
I'll just have some on my side.
Everyone, you had a 3.5 floppy, nothing. There was no cloud to store anything.
Yeah.
So people used to buy these digital cameras, and they thought it was all clever. Well, it was clever at the time. Uploading it onto the computer, turn it on one day, the motherboard would go bang. You take it down to Curry's, and they'd say, "No, that's no good.
It's fried."
Yeah, and all that information was gone.
Yeah.
You know? Pictures.
I mean, and there's not a lot of footage, but I mean, you've got some YouTubers who have, probably taped. And when we say taped, we're saying on a physical tape, and then they've put it onto digital. It's like when you get your wedding videos, you can put it onto DVD, and now you can put it onto DVD into the cloud, as you say. So there's only little bits of footage. Yeah, I mean, the final. I think they've only got the last leg of the first PDC final.
Have they?
That I've seen on so when they're doing like the history of the World Championships, you only really see that last leg. Or I think when Dennis Prissy was on for a 9-darter in one of them, when Phil Taylor hit a 180 back and booshed him.
Yeah.
But I think that's kind of like the only footage that you see, which
about.
is and that's the history of. This is the history of the game, really.
Yeah, and it's all been erased.
Yeah.
And this is partly why I'm doing this, to raise awareness of the 90s, really, because it's not talked about enough. It's not. In the early PDC, it's just everybody thinks it was always like that, like it is now, and you couldn't be further from the truth.
Yeah, exactly. So, in the 90s, obviously, darts has changed dramatically with technology, with like the intricate cuts on darts and all that. I mean, Luke Little are using new darts in the Premier League where they've got the actual Nuke logo on. I don't know if you saw that. Yeah. So obviously the machining involved is unbelievable, but back then the grip patterns were very basic. If you had knurling, that was a bit fancy. But for you, how important was that equipment? I mean, did you adapt freely, or was it trial and error? Yeah. Well, you
used to sort of. I mean, sets of darts were like, there was lots of darts about, but a lot of them are misweighted. Like you said, the grips on them were. You just got what you're given, really.
Yeah.
And what you used to do is it's the other way around now. People get darts to suit their throw. And then you used to have to change your throw to suit the darts.
Yes.
It was more the other way around, really. You got a set of darts and you had to learn to live with them,
Yeah.
And
I get you. Yeah.
You could change the back end and all that lot. But as for the points, they were a once in a life. I mean, people change their points daily now, and used to go outside and sharpen them up on a curb and
I mean, I remember the stones, like the grinding stones. I mean, I remember when I played in the Strawberry Gardens when I was like 13, 14. You got the darts, you got the points that were in the darts. That was it.
Yeah.
And then you just, because we had the Manchester board, which was made of wood, and sometimes, the darts would drop out.
Yeah.
And they say, just get it on that stone, and you just have like a broken piece of a grindstone next to the dartboard, and you just like rubbed it across, and it was as you say, just make do and mend.
You had to adapt yourself to the equipment rather than the equipment adapted to you.
Yeah. I mean, what do you think's the most, like the advancements of darts? Which one do you think's been the most, has brought the most change, or been the most popular?
I would say the points.
Yeah.
The points have been a revelation to a lot of players, where people put a finger or two on a point.
Yeah.
And they were always smooth, always.
Yes. Yeah.
And it first started, they put a diamond coating on them, didn't they?
Yes.
Some of them. And then someone had that idea of practically putting the same sort of grip as you got on the dart. And
that was like early 2000s, wasn't it?
Yeah. And an absolute revelation.
Was it MKD points or something like that? Was it like, I think it was like Data Dart or G-Force, where, because you had Gary Anderson, Darryl Fitton and Gary Robson that were having that grip at the back end of the point.
On the back end.
Yeah. And nowadays you've got the Swiss points, which I think is revolutionised the game completely because dependent on how you're throwing, and you could, if you know your dart's landing too low. For us, you just throw a bit harder. Whereas now you can put a longer point in, so the dart gets to the board quicker. And but it opens up a bit more tinkering. Yeah, tweak it. Yeah.
Tweak everything. You can. I mean, I think in America they stand in like wind tunnels and stuff like that. I'm not sure whether they do it here. I don't know. I wouldn't know what newfangled stuff they do now.
Newfangled. Back in my day. Well, actually, there was I had an academy night last night, and we've got a new kid starting. And I said, "Have you brought your own darts?" He said, "Yeah." He said, "I've brought 2 sets, and I just wanted you to give me your opinion on which one would suit me more." So he brings out one set, and it's I think it's like a unicorn set that you get from Sports Direct, which is absolute for a beginner. An absolute fine set of darts. And I go, and what are the other darts? And he goes, "Oh, these were me granddad's." So I was like, "Oh, right, okay." And I was expecting another tungsten set because he's a young kid.
Yeah.
Out comes these brass darts, wooden stems, feathers. And I'm going, "Do you think I could use these a lot?" So I'm just going, might not be suitable. I mean, it's like, you're looking at an antique set of darts. But I was like, so I said, "Try both." And I was like, "I'm going to see how these fly." But I think nowadays, it's like with these brass darts, I mean, they were huge. The comparisons of brass darts to tungsten, the density and everything. But he was throwing as good with both.
Yeah.
But I think, nowadays you just got to...
You can't get the grouping with them,
No.
You can't get the grouping,
No. I mean, with some of the training drills that we do, it's not necessarily... I mean, obviously, treble 20 is your bread and butter, but it's getting them to just learn about the different parts of the dartboard because when it comes to the number crunching at the bottom end of the leg, a lot of people are lost now because you've got these auto scoring systems and things like that. It can be a bit... You see him trying to work it out, and again, you get that with experience because you find your way and think. But some of it's just basic maths. But these, auto systems. But going back to his darts, I was like, I think you should. It's like keep your granddad's darts. Keep them because they're a lovely set of darts, and just use the tungsten ones. He's like, all right, okay. But I was expecting like 2 similar or like a torpedo dart. 2 separate tungsten barrels. But he pulled out these brass darts with. I was like, oh my word! It's like I mean, I've got some relic stuff at home. I've got a set of Jim Pikes and stuff, but
I had some brass darts once that were, I don't know, at least 8 inches long.
Yeah,
really, really thin.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because
you could buy them, I think, from somewhere or other. But I had a set. I don't know where they went. In the bin, I expect.
After a loss. I'd missed the bin. That's my problem. I've missed rivers in the past, but that's a different story. But when you was preparing for tournaments, was you an avid practicer, or was your practice during match play, or did you play with someone to get that practice? What was your a run up to the World Championships as an example? What was your routine?
Well, like I said, people were lazy back in the day.
Yeah,
lazy. A lot of players never used to. This is the honest truth. A lot of players didn't really put any effort in before the World Championship. Used to turn up the day before, all in the hotel, and 2 or 3 of them would say, "Oh, I ain't thrown anything up for 2 weeks. I've had the family round for Christmas." And, you were in, not me included, but my practice routine was sort of playing, really. I used to, when I was single, it was 7 nights a week. I was out 7 days a week,
But was you doing that practice at home, so was you playing against yourself? I mean, there wasn't really computers like you have nowadays.
To be honest, we used to... all I've ever done is just throw darts at that treble 20.
Yeah.
I've never done these,
the drills.
I've never done that. Obviously, you do go for a bit, but all I ever do is just try and keep it straight, get yourself confident.
Yeah.
And my dad, who I've spoken about before, but he said to me, get a dartboard. He said, and you want to get 2 6-inch nails and open up that treble 20 till it's about enough half as much again.
Yeah.
Right? You know, they used to buy these Champions Choice boards.
Yes.
And they say, oh, that's good for practicing. My dad was a totally different mindset. He'd say, get the treble 20 as big as you can and go 180, 120, get yourself confident.
Right.
Before you go out.
So it's just more like positive development. Yeah.
And then 30 years later, they actually make those boards now, don't
Yeah,
they?
Unicorn have got a version, and I think Winmore have got a version. They've got Winmore's is called the Equaliser, and I think that's a great one. And when I say dad and lad, I don't mean anything like, you know, men should be playing darts. It's a great one where a parent and child could play against each other, because the parent could have a regular treble 20, and then the child could have the larger treble 20. And then you've got the contender one, which is what Unicorn make, which is just a massive treble.
It is a little bit big, but it's But people don't realise that that's good for building up your confidence. You know?
Absolutely.
Champion's Choice, all that does is destroy your confidence before you go out, doesn't it?
I mean, because I understand. Because I've had one of them boards, and I've had it when it was the round wire one as well. So that was like doubly tough. But when I used to, as I said, play in the Strawberry Gardens Thursday night darts, I used to at home go on the Champion's Choice, and if I get a tud or what, you know, just doing all my regular stuff, but on a Champion's Choice. When I went to the pub, for me, I'm walking in the treble must have been this big, you know. So it was just. You know, it's like you're putting that positive spin, but in a different way. It's
well, let's just say you go out, you play on a bigger treble, and then you go into the pub and it's that much smaller, and it makes you try harder.
Yes,
and you play better.
Focus. You can hone in more.
Yeah, you do, and it did work. It did work. It worked for me dad because he was brilliant. But you know, but it does work. It does work. You know, yeah.
So we've got a question here from Brian in Yorkshire. What was the hardest part about being on the circuit?
The hardest part was, well, for me, was affording it. After I'd lost my sponsor when I moved to the PDC, I did pick up one. Yeah, I did. As it happens, another. The bloke who won the very, very first lottery, Millionaire.
Oh wow!
What's his name? Mark Gardner. He owned a. Double glazing company in Hastings,
right?
And he sponsored me, and he used to play darts himself, to a standard, you know, and he sponsored me for a year or so, and he sponsored another player, another local player who's sadly no longer with us, a bloke called Johnny Russell, but Johnny made the television once. He made the World Match Play,
right?
So you know, couldn't have done it without him, you know.
And you was only allowed one sponsor. Is that back then?
On your shirt?
Yeah.
You was allowed... what it was... this is an interesting point. We used to go to meetings, we had players' meetings.
Yeah.
And they say, why can't we have more sponsors? Well, you know, how come snooker players and
F1 teams have...
And they said... Dick Alex said at one of the meetings, we've brought all this up, and one of the reasons... we can't have more than one is because of static sponsorship. Because dart players stand still for more than 6 seconds or something like that, it's classed as static sponsorship, and that changes the rules.
Right.
And same with snooker players. They're not allowed because they stand. But footballers and Formula One and all that lot, they're always moving.
Right.
And and it wasn't classed as static sponsorship, and I'm not sure. Obviously, but that's what he said. And this is why we were only allowed a limited amount of. But I think they must have moved all the rules now. Must have changed all the rules.
Because you're allowed. So with the new PDPA guidelines, you're allowed 3 on the front of the shirt and 1 sleeve, because the PDC tournament sponsor is on one. And then they have the right-hand sleeve. But then you're allowed another one now on the back of the shirt. A lot of them now have this one, they have one bottom of the neck.
Yeah.
So that's another one, which is great for the players because it means more income for them and to help them on the tour. But a lot of them now are with management companies anyway. So it's you're seeing a lot of players just with the same logo kind of thing. But I think it's great for players, but. Obviously, sponsors want to sponsor the better players because they get more TV time. But I mean, there's so many talented players that are screaming out for sponsors, and it's crazy.
But there's a glut of talent out there at the moment, isn't there? An absolute, because everything is so popular.
Yeah,
there's so many. I mean, as we're speaking now, they're all playing the Challenge Tour down in Milton Keynes, and it's just a room full of. I mean, none of them have got tour cards, and it's still a room full of talent.
Oh God,
absolutely oozing.
Yeah, I mean, you're going to be seeing 90, 95, 100 plus averages, all day, and as you say, they're the ones without a tour card.
Yeah,
so the ones that have just gained a tour card, that jump is now even more so because you've got to be looking at 100 minimum.
Yeah,
and that's the scale. And they said, if you want to be really competitive, like if you want to be at that top end, that's what you've got to be aiming for is 100. But it's only every now and again you're going to sneak with an 85 plus, and you get. But they're like
Well, if you're look at James Wade. James rarely has an 100 average, but
he lives between 95 and 100.
And give him a sniff and he's in.
Yeah, but it's like I was saying from the UK Open. James Wade, I mean, now he's now up in them averages. I mean, there was multiple occasions where he was averaging plus 100, and there wasn't much change. I mean, when you was watching the game, it didn't look like there was much changes. But when you look at the stats, I know people look at the stats too much sometimes. I think when they're talking about averages and things like that, it's do you hit the doubles, which James always does.
Yeah.
But now he's giving himself more opportunities because them steady tons 95s are now turning into 135, 140s, and he was never. And when we say a power scorer, I'd say it's the wrong word to use, but he wasn't a prolific 180 hitter.
No.
But now he's hitting a lot more. In that UK Open, I think that was one of his strongest spells of 180 hitting that I've seen in a long, long time, and I think for me. I think James Wade's going to have a major this year.
He's got one in him, definitely. He's got another one in him. He can be a bit chalk and cheese, can't he?
Of course. He's very Marmite, and I mean,
he's got his well-documented problems, but he's not knocking his talent whatsoever.
Oh no, he's a tremendous player. Fantastic. And I think he's great for the game because he has got a personality, whether you agree or disagree. And I mean, with my experience in the press in the press offices of the various tournaments, when James Wade comes round the corner, you're not guarded. That's not. But you go, don't ask a stupid question because he will eat you alive. Yeah. So it's like you've got to be ready with a good couple of questions because like for me, you have a few people before me, so I'm reading the answers or I'm listening to the answers and I'm going, right, is there a follow up there or do I go in with a curveball? But you can't go in with too much of a curveball because again that's when they go.
He's very straight laced.
Yes, but no, I think James Wade for the game is great. I mean, some people don't like him, some people do. I don't think he cares either way, which is great. But I think James Wade is deserving of another major for his playing alone. I think I'm not saying you hand one to him. It's not like wrestling where it's predetermined. They've been in the game for 10 years. They need But I think for
it's only what the struggle with it will be. He's got the ability, but where he's not getting any younger, and a lot of these tournaments now, you play towards the end. You play 2 or 3 times. So
yes, UK Open especially, and the Grand Slam. That's where
the older gentleman will suffer a bit.
So I think if he's going to win a major, it's going to be the match play, which he's already won. But I think another one would be great for him, or the World Championship. Can he go? Can he win 7 sets? Absolutely. In a final, I think, if it's one match in a fight on the day, I think he can beat anybody. And that's including the 2 Lukes. He's done Luke Little a few times in a shorter format, granted, but I think he's just got that game where you go, he can mix it and mix it and mix it.
Definitely.
Yeah. Did you play James Wade?
Yeah, I played him a couple of times in the early days. once it was one of the very, very first Players' Championships we had at the Eastbourne Open. I don't know if they were called the Players' Championships then. We had these things that were £50 to enter, and we could all play in them. And I'd hit a 9-darter that day, as it happens. My one and only PDC 9-darter. I've hit 3. But
did you get a pin badge?
Yeah. Well, I had to fight for it. I hit it, and they published a list some year later or something online of all the people that hit 9 darts with a badge, and I said, I didn't realise you got a badge. Where's mine? And I think it was Alan Warren. I said, well, you didn't hit one. I said, I did. Eastbourne Open. Look at the records. And a week later, I got a phone call saying, you did?
Yeah.
You did?
I know.
Yeah.
I was there.
Yeah. But like I said, it's about these dark ages. It's not, nothing was bloody. Someone wrote it down. It was gone forever,
That's it, and
So getting back to that, I'd actually hit a 9-darter that day. Then I played James Wade and Andy Jenkins. He was Andy Jenkins' like mate. He was hanging around from Hampshire gang.
Yeah.
And Andy Jenkins, you got my mate, James. He said he was only 19, I think, at the time. And he said he's going to beat you. He's a quality player. And I went, well, we'll see. Anyway, he absolutely tore me a new one, right? And this is where the early James, so he was only 19, he shook me hand afterwards and he said to me, I thought it would have been harder. And I thought, yeah. So it was already the early James coming out then, and I thought...
Confidence is key in darts. You've got to feel confident, but I think there is that fine line, and I think sometimes Michael Van Gerwen's may have overstepped it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I think Luke. I don't think he's done it purposely, but he's so good at the moment, and the crowd have turned on him a couple of times with just comments that he's made on stage and stuff. But I think it is very hard because you want to demonstrate how good you are.
Yeah.
But at the same time, you don't want to overcut the pudding.
If I'd won about £4 million when I was 19, I'd have tell a few people to F off.
Oh God, yeah, absolutely.
I really would.
Yeah, and now they're contending with social media. I mean, what do you think the PDC's approach would have been if social media was as it was now, but back then?
Yeah.
Would you have had social media as in terms of would you be doing all the Twitter posts and stuff like that, or would you just be like, not for you?
No, I wouldn't have bothered. No, I wouldn't have. Like I said, I was just happy just going along playing with darts, and I was never where the deals are done and darts at 3 o'clock in the morning at the bar when the managing director's drunk and his wife's there and had too many gins, and that's when deals are done.
So he's the last person that speaks from that seems to get the deal. Yeah.
And I was always in my camper van asleep, getting up for fishing in the morning, whatever. I missed out on. I don't really care, but that's where those deals are done. 3 o'clock in the morning in the bar in an hotel.
Yeah.
And a lot of managing directors woke up in the morning and think, damn, did I just say I'd sponsor so-and-so?
Yeah, my head hurts and I've got a big hole in my checkbook, kind of thing.
Yeah.
So we've got so that'll be good for part 1. So we've just got a few messages here. So do a quick cut and then welcome back. We're still here at the Raven in Glazenbury, just outside of Warrington, and having a couple of drinks and a chat, really. Nothing.
Yeah.
But so I've got a question here from George in Salford, and do you think the sport gets the recognition it deserves today?
Today it does.
Yeah.
In spades, I think. Yeah. You get mentions on the news and all sorts, don't you? Do
you think? Well, obviously, the current world champion is from the local area, so a lot of the local. But even BBC, like Northwest Tonight, mention Luke Little. Luke Little won X tournaments. So do you think it's a local thing, or do you think it's because it's his age? Is the big thing in darts at the moment? Because it's on. Or do you just think it's just this whirlwind that's just seemed to have come together and we're in the eye of the storm?
Yeah,
of it?
Well, yeah. It's Yeah, it's the Luke Littler effect at the moment with all the kids playing, and it's I'm sure when Bjorn Borg was 17 and winning Wimbledon in the 80s, everybody was playing tennis.
Yes, and that's still the case today. It's like as soon as the Ashes have played or on at the moment, Sports Direct sells out of cricket bats. You know, when the Premier League starts, you know, it's the football shirt. You know, so there's that. I mean, F1 will never get that, but I mean, you can't get anything there.
No.
But with darts now, I mean, because it's an all year round sport, should I say? It can be. You can buy stuff over here, but when it's the World Championships, that's when it gets crazy. It got crazy.
Mad.
I work in a darts shop, and that December period was just crazy. Every lunchtime, people were coming in like off the lunch break and coming in buying presents for a loved one, their husband or their partner or their kid and it was just like, oh, Gordon Bennett. It was crazy. But do you think it's going to get? Do you think the bubble could potentially burst, or do you think are we at a point where we don't know how big it's going to be?
It'll wane because I mean, not everybody's a dart player. There's all these kids and their mates all playing at the moment.
Yes,
and you know, if you 90% of them aren't never going to be any good, you know.
But that can be the same with football. If you look at all the football academies. You know, I mean, my wife used to work at Manchester United, and she was on the youth development, and there was hundreds and hundreds of kids on the books from 6 to 18.
Right.
And you know, you're probably looking over the past 10 years. 3 of them have got to the first team. So in terms of percentages, you're looking at, you know, it's like, and you look at all, and that's just at Manchester United. But you've got however many football teams are in the Northwest, you know, like youth football teams. You know, so you look at the percentages. You know, it's only going to be 1%. Now, if we can generate 1% with the academies that we've got, I mean, the academy that I run with, Pinnacle Darts, you know, we've probably got three or 4 players that you could go, they could really make a thing if they really apply themselves. But it's like, I remember Stephen Bunting. He was the big name in youth darts when I started. He was my first opponent at youth darts, and I was like, I'm out my depth. You know, but I didn't know who Stephen Bunting was because it was my first time. But you know, Stephen Bunting's gone on to do tremendous things. But in that year, you know, you look at that youth team he was playing in the England youth team. I think at that time you had James Wade, Ross Smith, Stephen Bunting. You know, you look at the talent's there, and you can see, you know, the England teams. The youth teams where you had Luke Littler was in one of them squads, Tom Sykes was in one of them squads. So I think you're going to have 5 or 6 players each year coming through. But obviously, you know, you've got to sort the wheat from the chaff, and that's only from tournaments. I mean, the academies are a great platform, are a great stepping stone, and it's a great introduction. And it's more organised, whereas
it's good that people are willing to put their time in with the kids. You know,
I mean,
put the effort in. And
for me, it was like I just watched it on TV, and then my dad bought me a dartboard, and then when I was 9, he stopped playing me because I kept beating him, and then from there, it was just all I did was just practiced it at home because my dad wasn't in any dart circles. You know, all my family, so we didn't know about youth tournaments and stuff like that. But now with social media, with the internet, and that, any kid can just type in darts comp near me, and you're there. Darts Atlas and stuff like that.
People come up to me in Kent, like back in the 80s, and say, "Of course, you know, you're doing well at the moment. I remember when you was in the youth team," and I said, "You must have dreamt that because I've never thrown a youth dart in my life." Never. There was no youth.
There was no.
There was no youth.
I mean, we all youth darts was the county system. That's all I remember. And it was the county did a youth tournament every now and again.
If you wanted to take up youth darts, you had to chalk for 6 months.
Oh God, yeah.
In the pub. That was your apprenticeship.
Exactly.
You want to play darts? Get on that chalkboard.
Yeah,
that's what it was.
Absolutely. But nowadays, again, it's the advent of like technology involved and social media or media just in general. The Luke Littler effect, it just seems to, you know,
it's riding a wave at the moment. You know, it will wane, but it'll level off, and it'll become a mainstream sport, which it deserves to be.
Yeah. I think on that note, I think that's a great way to finish this episode of Ask Shayne Anything. But don't you worry, guys, we'll be back for another one. We'll be back, yes.